Good morning, everyone. It is May the 8th, and we are almost through this week. And honestly, after all the phone talk and the computer magic, I am ready for this week to head towards the weekend. But we have a full day of Karen Reed. But before that, we've got all of the insanity that I could find on the internet. And surprisingly, the stockpile of crazy is still high. Who'd have guessed? Good morning. Thank you, Wolfram, as always, from the bottom of my heart for being the bestest mod. I have the bestest mods. Well, okay. In the circle of Laytube, I have some of the best mods, and all of the other mods are pretty good too. I always hate like having a favorite kid, so I always have to put that in. Good morning, Christine and 80s Music Man, Tammy, Bogard, and let's see here, Carol Sue Scott, Granny Smith, Karen Snanger, Carol Sue Scott, 80s Music Man, Captain Kern. 80s Music Man, I was just listening to some why is her name escaping me right now? Kate Bush. I was just listening to some Kate Bush. I was like, "I know it's not heart. I know it's not heart." Captain Kern, good morning. Squid Pro Quo, also excellent, excellent mod. Um, Forewarning, if you ever start your own channel, I am a terrible mod. I don't know how to do the computer magic-y link stuff. I appreciate when people give me mod status, but I am in no way equipped for the responsibility, which is why I'm always so grateful to mine, because I suck out loud at modding. Denise Sells, John Coman, good morning. Audio Coffee. We have got a lot of news, you guys. MLS, good morning, and Jeffrey Montgomery. So the Cardinals still haven't picked a pope. I kind of wish mud wrestling was involved, like just for the rest of us, or Irish river dancing, so they don't move up top. So if you look through the windows of the Sistine Chapel, you won't see them moving, but inside there's some Michael Flatley, Lord of the River dance kind of thing going on. I mean, as a recovering Catholic, I have no skin in the game, but that's how I would pick the next pope. The Cardinals did return to the Sistine Chapel to vote on a new pope after the first ballot fails. Well, good luck with that. I hope they get snacks. Are you allowed to have sacramental wine while you're voting? Need to know. And John, thank you for the super chat. Uh, did I see the article of the CBS anchor saying that the Cardinals were raw dogging it? No, I didn't, but now I will be looking for it because that sounds like an article that I would write. Thank you so much for your support, John. All of your super chats and stuff are going to my fabulous Dollywood adventure, making sure I have all of the things that I need to take, so that my husband will feel safe with me navigating the world by myself, which on balance, I did spend 3 hours making a puppet head, so kind of understand does she need a guardian ad litem? Kind of understand that. Well, the Cardinals have returned to the Sistine Chapel on Thursday to resume voting for a new pope after the first conclave ballot failed to pick a winner, sending billowing black smoke through the chapel chimney. Some 133 voting cardinals said that they expected a short conclave to replace Pope Francis. And thank you, Granny Smith, for 10 Dollywood dollars. Thank you so much. My kids are like, "So wait, you're going without us?" My youngest, most feral, is like, "But then who will you mom?" And I was like, "Well, Granny Smith, thank you so much." I was like, "Well, sweetie, sometimes I just like to hang out with friends that I didn't raise." And they're like, "Yeah, but who are you gonna be the mom to down there?" My youngest, most feral, couldn't get the concept of sometimes I'm not a mom. He just figured I'd adopt people down there and just take the mom role too, which I kinda get. It will likely take a few rounds for one man to secure the two-thirds majority or 89 ballots needed to become the 267th pope. For much of the past century, the conclave has needed between 3 and 14 ballots to find a pope. Pope John Paul I, the Pope who reigned for 33 days in 1978, was elected on the fourth ballot. His successor, John Paul II, needed 8 rounds, and Francis was elected on the fifth round in 2013. Now, the Cardinals opened the secretive centuries old ritual Wednesday afternoon, participating in a rite more theatrical than even Hollywood could create. It's all about pageantry, it's all about tradition. And it's kind of comforting to see, as much as the world changes, the Catholics are still going to Catholic. Look, it's kind of comforting to me as a recovering Catholic that, all things considered, the Catholic Church is still, I know a venial sin, I know a cardinal sin, and I can sort of remember catechism. So I feel like all is okay in the world. Then again, I'm a weird yardstick to measure normality by. Let's see. Cardinal Pedro Peroni, a 70-year-old Secretary of State under Francis and leading contender to succeed him as Pope, assumed leadership of the proceedings as the senior cardinal under age 80, eligible to participate. And thank you, White Rabbit, for $5 Canadian and in honor of the Cardinals raw dogging it. Who knew it was a white party? God forgive me. Look, I think God even has a sense of humor. Again, as a recovering Catholic, and I know I should probably stop making. Look, I have the card. I was there. I had to learn the rosary and everything, so I think I can make fun of it. It always confused me how our most holy person was afraid of death in the little Pope mobile. Again, I don't want to see the Pope shot, but I figured if you're like the closest to Jesus, you wouldn't be afraid to die. That being said, one of many reasons I wasn't voted most Catholic girl ever. So there you go. I don't see this being an easy vote. I think that that's going to take a long time, but as I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. So God bless all the Catholics. Hopefully you pick a good pope. If not, maybe they're smoking some real good dope in there. I mean, that's what I would do. Again, why I'm not allowed near the levers of power. Well, it's crime and punishment. I could not even begin to understand. So I did try to read this article a little bit. Belgian teens found with 5,000 ants in Kenya given 2 options for their punishment. Why are you stealing Kenyan ants? Don't you have ants in Belgium? I mean, I know Belgium chocolate. That's about all I know. But why do you need ants? And of course, they look like your local basement dwellers. Sir, that whatever this is right here looks like you shouldn't be around schools. Shave whatever that shit is off your face, because you're going to Gen Pop, sir. I don't think this is going to look good for you. 2 Belgian teenagers found with 5,000 ants in Kenya were given the choice of paying a fine of $7,700 or serving 12 months in prison, the minimum penalty for the offense of violating wildlife conservation laws. Now, authorities said that the ants were destined for European and Asian markets in an emerging trend of trafficking lesser-known wildlife species. The Belgian nationals, Lenore David and Seppi. Oh, hell no. This is not a word. How do you have a WIJCKX? We're just going to call you Seppi. Were both 19 years old and arrested on April 5th with 5,000 ants at a guest house in Naruko County, which is home to various national parks. They were charged on April 15th. I say send them to prison. Now, the magistrate for the region sitting at the court in Kenya's main airport on Wednesday said that her ruling was despite the teenagers telling the court that they were naive and collecting ants as a hobby. This particular species of ants that they collected is valuable, and they had thousands of them, not just a few. Well, I mean, if you're going to collect something as a hobby, might as well be profitable. The Kenyan Wildlife Service said that the teenagers were involved in trafficking the ants to markets in Europe and Asia, and that the species included the distinctive large red color harvester ant native to East Africa. This is beyond a hobby. Indeed, there is a biting shortage of these, harvester ants online. The judge said. Now, the teenager's lawyers described the sentencing as fair and said her clients would not appeal. When the statutes described a specific minimum amount, the court cannot find lower than that. So even if we went to the Court of Appeal, the court is not going to revise that. The illegal export of ants not only undermines Kenyan sovereign rights over its biodiversity, but it also deprives local communities and research institutions of potential ecological and economic benefits. Okay, what do the ants do? Why are we selling them? Why do we want ants? Because I have spent the greater part of my adult life making sure ants don't get into my house. So, what is so cool about these ants? I'm confused at the whole thing. I'm just confused. Also, where are the killer bees that were supposed to come here and kill us all by the end of the aughts? I keep getting, punked by these things that are going to unalive us and then never show up. Now, in a separate but related case, two other men were charged after they were found with 400 ants and were also fined $7,700 each, with the option of serving 12 months in prison. A Vietnamese national, who I'm not even going to try to say their name because I don't want to get taken to court by the EU, told the court he was there to pick up ants and arrived at the Kenya's main airport where he met his contact person, another national, as they traveled to meet locals who sell the ants. You're right. What was I thinking? Now, he didn't, you know, basically, no one knows why these ants, but they are, sold locally and eaten locally. But what the reason is that everyone wants ants, look, I'm not a scienceologist. That's all I've got to say. Oh, and they went through the trouble of putting them in test tubes. Look. Yeah, this is a hobby, y'all. This does not look at all sus in the muss. No, this looks all the sus. And where the hell do you get like 9 bajillion test tubes? People are using the internet for badness again. But there you have it. Don't go to Kenya. Don't steal ants. Now you know. Well, in two stories that are from my neck of the woods, because, sometimes we have to make fun of our home base just a little bit or a lot of bit, depending on the story. In, oh, wait, no, this isn't actually that one. Doo-doo. Now, this is a pretty sad one. It does look like there is a greater story going on behind this. I will have to look deeper into this because this was the first time I've seen this. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I geek out on UK politics. If it's local to my general region, I might not know about it until I'm looking for Mornings with Mo, because if it's not a trial, it is the UK just GB News and that kind of stuff. I don't know why. I'm just obsessed with it. An armed vigilante was taken down by police officers in a failed revenge hit on a suspect who had unalived his young great-grandchildren. So there are a lot of families destroyed by this story, and it looks like one that I'm going to definitely have to dig more into. An armed man on a vigilante mission to avenge the unaliving of his great-grandchildren was taken down in a chaotic shootout with deputies escorting inmates in front of an Indiana courthouse on Tuesday, according to family and officials. The 65-year-old shooter, Mark Wattner, showed up at Hendricks County Courthouse at 12:55 p.m. with the intention of taking out Dasoni Pettis, who is accused of unaliving the very young grandchildren in a fiery car crash during a February police chase. So this man knew that this inmate was going to be coming to the courthouse, and he was like, I'm done. I'm done. The justice system is done. I'm going to take care of it. While trying to evade capture, Pettis, 25, slammed a stolen Honda Civic he was driving into a Ford Explorer containing, oh, this is heartbreaking, 3-year-old Eris and 2-month-old Iris, according to court records. Now, the youngsters were horribly burnt when the Explorer, driven by their dad, exploded into a fireball. Iris, who had just left her 2-month-old doctor checkup about 30 minutes before the crash, unfortunately passed away at the scene. Now, Good Samaritans and officers heroically tried to pull Eris out of the inferno, and he was rushed to the hospital with burns on 60% of his body. The family made the agonizing choice of taking him off of life support a few days later. Now, Pettis was supposed to have arrived for a court appearance for vehicular manslaughter for that case on Tuesday, but unbeknownst to the grieving great-grandfather, his case had been rescheduled. An armed Votner was spotted leaning against a courthouse wall, and when deputies started to transport inmates, he kind of made himself known. He approached and confronted the group, firing off at least one shot shortly after, according to officials and reports. Now, his shot did not hit anyone, but 2 Hendrick County Sheriff's deputies, Zachary Emmett and Deputy Nathan Phillips, returned fire and did not miss. He was pronounced passed away at the scene, according to officials. The great-grandfather spoke with the Indianapolis Star at Riley Hospital for Children just days after the fatal fiery crashed, and he was observing a walk of honor for little Eris, who became an organ donor after his passing. It should have been Eris who buried me, not me burying him, an emotional, Votner said at the time. He was so young. Neighbors suspected that Votner had been planning his revenge for weeks, according to I-Team 8. That is a local news station. Dennis and Charlotte Wagner, so these are not the people, but these are the neighbors, said that they had a disturbing conversation with Votner weeks before the shootout, in which he told him he didn't have much longer to live. I think he was planning it to go over there to the courthouse and take out that guy who took out his grandkids, Charlotte said. It didn't mean anything to me at the time. I thought maybe he was just confused or something. The way he put it, it's kind of spooky now. Prosecutors citing a public safety interest now want Pettis to appear remotely for all future court hearings and have requested the court deny public access to his records. Fuck that. I mean, I'm not trying to be a petty butt monkey here, but this man caused 2 children to die an unimaginably terrifying death because he stole a car and decided to run from cops. And I get that the grandfather shouldn't have taken matters into his own hands, but let's put this on a separate level for right now. This man took children away from us, and I say us because all the world, because we have no idea what those babies were gonna grow up to be, what they were gonna do, and whose lives they were gonna touch. So, I'm kind of having a little bit of an issue with us making sure that the poor, terrified criminal is okay. Ugh. They argued that giving the public access to his court dates could create an opportunity for further attempts at vigilantism or reprisals, imperiling the lives of other inmates, deputies, or passersby. The Indiana State Police is conducting an investigation into the shooting at the request of Hendricks County Sheriff. So basically, it's kind of the same thing as Canton. Hendricks County is saying, hey, state police, come in because we have a shooting that involves some of our officers. Now, the 2 deputies that fatally shot Votner are placed on administrative leave while the probe is ongoing. I will probably be covering this more as I am able to research more because this has now pissed me off. Just pissed me off all the way. And another thing, well, just another shining jewel in the crown of Indiana. What happens at IPS stays at IPS. And as a proud semi-graduate of Indianapolis public school system, I was there until I was a sophomore in high school after I gave up going to Catholic school. Just wasn't the right fit. I can tell you this shocks me not one bit. In a new lawsuit against IPS, states that a fight club, was kind of in a there was a fight club ring, and it led to abuse of children and the neglect of a six-year-old. And again, I say this shocks me not one damn bit. As a freshman, I graded my English finals because my teacher didn't wanna bother with it. And you know what I could tell you as a 14-year-old? Uh, none of these kids could half of these children couldn't write a sentence. A simple, subject, verb, noun, sentence. It was heartbreaking. You had seniors in freshman English who couldn't write a sentence, couldn't read, basically. It was heartbreaking. So this shocks me not one damn bit. A new family has come forward to sue Indianapolis Public Schools and former teacher and leadership at George Washington Carver Montessori School 87 over allegations that a 6-year-old girl faced weeks of mental and physical abuse that at one point required her to be rushed to the hospital. Now, the teacher at the center of this lawsuit, Julius Jocan, is the same educator who was accused a year earlier of creating a fight club style atmosphere in his classroom, sometimes encouraging students to fight each other and record it. Again, this is not shocking to me given all that I saw. And this was in the late 90s, early aughts. I can only imagine that it's gotten worse. Now, the latest lawsuit alleges that a first grader in Junkin's class during 2023-2024 school year faced months of both mental and physical abuse and bullying while under his care. It also alleges that the teacher and school leadership failed to properly report or protect the girl, who is described as a special needs student. Oh, hell no. I am defunding IPS when I get, my Empress of the Pettyverse, title. It also I'm sorry. In a statement, IPS Media Relations Coordinator or designated liar, allegedly in Minecraft, Mark Ransford said the district, quote, strongly agrees with the claims put forward in the lawsuit. The safety and security of our students and staff has been and will continue to be our top priority. Just continue to pay us your property taxes for further increasing, illiteracy rates. Yes, I do not like IPS. I believe every single student should be entitled to a quality education, which is not one that you got when I was in the schools. I can speak nothing to the schools as of right now, but given the trajectory of the schools getting like descending into straight hell when I was there, I can't imagine that it's done a full 180 and they are now all Mensa scholars. So there you go. But okay, in things that make me want to pull out Lord Chippy, but are not Lord Chippy applicable in the, well, judicial sense, this shit. Hollywood, stop it. Stop it now. Cease and desist. Who do I have to write to? Who do I have to band together? Genlennials, 90s kids, Gen Xers, we must all stand arm in arm. Stop remaking our GD movies. Stop it. We don't want sequels. We just want to watch the good one that we already have. You're going to ruin it. Stop it. 10 Things I Hate About You director reveals that he's working on a sequel. I hate you so much right now. With a nod to Heath Ledger. I will boycott this with every fiber of my soul. We don't hate the idea of a follow-up film. Speak for yourself, New York Post. I fucking hate it. Excuse my language. It is going to storm today, and so my leg, Hagatha, is in a mood. After directing the 1999 rom-com 10 Things I Hate About You, Jill Younger revealed that a second movie is in the works called 10 Things I Hate About Dating. 10 Things I Hate About Dating is definitely in the works as a feature film. We're developing it right now, the creator, 70 years old, told People. Now, Younger is working with the film's original producer, Andrew Lazar, and is co-writing the script with Nia L. James. Keep your hands off of our mythos. Stop it. I don't want a new movie. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. That's it. I'm going to have to talk to LawTube. We have to make a cease and desist. They've gone too far. He teased that the trio has had some pretty good ideas. No, you're probably gonna cast Rachel friggin' Zegler or Zendaya, and no offense, Zendaya, I like you. I think you are a beautiful and talented and just graceful young lady. Rachel Zegler, I hope you never ever grace a movie screen again. But you are a great lol cow, so figure out what you wanna do. Now, 10 Things I Hate About You followed Kat Stratford, or Julia Stiles, who played a smart, quick-witted teenager, but also a loner, and due to rules implemented by her single father, Walter, her younger sister, Bianca, couldn't date until her older sister did. Again, it's Taming of the Shrew. It's a remake of a Shakespeare classic. It's not like they had this idea by themselves. And that happened sooner rather than later as a new charming kid in school. Okay, we all know what happens. Stop it. I will not allow this to happen. This is not going to happen. We will make it stop. Therefore, I am not going to continue reading this article. I just won't. Guard your ear loins because we do have some official Lord Chippy business to attend to. Because I figured on the scale of things, I could not bring Lord Chippy out for this particular article, so I put him right after. Because, you know. Well, an Amish man killed a neighbor, left the body in the home with her goat, and kept living across the street from her for weeks. Well, I mean, I guess they weren't gonna call 911, but why? And what is wrong with people? Even the Amish are getting cray-cray now? An Amish man in Ohio has been arrested for allegedly unaliving his neighbor, a 28-year-old woman who was a member of the same Amish community, nearly a month after authorities said she was found dead inside her home with her goat. That's about the most super trooper thing I've ever seen in real life. Samuel Hochschler was taken into custody on Monday and charged with one count of murder in the March slaying of Rosanna Kinsinger, authorities announced. Now, according to news releases from the Meigs County Sheriff's Office, deputies on Thursday, March 13th, 2025, responded to a call regarding a suspicious death at the residence on Dye Road in Rutland, Ohio. Now, Rutland is about 200 miles south of Cleveland. Upon arriving, excuse me, at the scene, first responders said they located the body of an adult female, later identified as Kinsinger, and conducted an initial review of the home before contacting the county coroner's office. Now, the coroner determined that the death was suspicious before sending her remains to the Montgomery County coroner's office for an autopsy. Authorities said the results of the autopsy were inconclusive. Now, authorities detained Hochstetler on Monday and transported him to the sheriff's office where he was interviewed by detectives. Though authorities did not provide details immediately following the interview, Hochstetler was arrested and charged with Kinsinger's murder. Well, he probably didn't realize he could, ask for a lawyer and remain silent. Then again, you are told in Miranda, but I would be too keyed up in the, interrogation room to remember all my rights, which is why I thank cops for reminding me every day that I need to be Mirandized. This case is a tragedy to those who knew Rosanna. She was a beloved individual in her community, Sheriff Scott Fitch said in a statement following the arrest. The detectives have worked around the clock searching for answers and were able to get some of those answers. Hopefully, this investigation brings some closure to the victim's family, and on behalf of the sheriff's office, we would like to offer our deepest condolences. Now, according to a report from Huntington, West Virginia, NBC affiliate WSAZ, Hochstetler had moved to the community from Kentucky and was staying with a man named Mose Troyer in the months before Kinsinger's death, as well as in the weeks leading up to his arrest. Troyer reportedly told the station that on March 13th, he and several others in the community realized they hadn't seen Kinsinger at all that day. Now, that evening, he went over to check on her at her home where he discovered her, well, deceased. Her goat was also inside her home. Now, Choi said in addition to the fear sparked by the alleged murder, he was also disturbed by the idea that the man allegedly responsible for killing Kinsinger had been living in his home after the crime. The sheriff's office said a work of numerous investigators and members of the community led them to identify Hochstedler as a possible suspect. So this looks like it's going to be an ongoing case and one that we're going to get a lot more information about. Maybe they will hire Valhalla as a goat expert to talk to said goat and, make sure that it's doing okay. Now, I have never for the life of me understood road rage. I mean, I get it. Look, people are dicks. I wish we had an FU horn installed in cars, but beyond being, imagining having an FU horn, I don't get that peeved off. I don't like people that are dicks on the road, but I also don't let it, get me too down. Drove the gear shifter through his boot. A minivan driver sideswipes a motorcycle during a road rage incident and sends the driver sliding across the highway. Why? Also, why do you look like you're about to start Oregon Trail, sir? Cops in Oregon tracked down a minivan driver who allegedly struck a motorcyclist, causing him to fall off of his bike and slide some 200 feet across a busy highway during an apparent road rage incident. Now, it happened around 6:13 a.m. on Monday on westbound US 26 between 100 or US. It is Oregon. He made it to the end. You are correct. Uh, this happened in Beaverton, a Portland suburb. Would I allow would I name a town Beaverton? Yes, but would I be able to not to say it without giggling every time? No. Now, the cops posted a video of the incident taken from a vehicle that was driving just behind where this happened. It shows the driver of the minivan and the motorcyclist involved in some kind of verbal confrontation as they drove side by side down the highway. Suddenly, the minivan driver swerved toward the motorcycle, sideswiping it and causing the rider to fall, slide across the highway, and possibly get hit by umpteen other cars who are not expecting you to run into a motorcycle. Just a douche. Because you pushed someone over, you could have killed the motorcyclist, caused a pileup. You are such a douche, and I hope they throw the book at you. Now, the driver of the minivan then sped off, weaving in and out of traffic. Other drivers pulled over to aid the fallen motorcyclist. Beaverton police posted a clip of the video to its social media pages on Monday evening. I'm a police person from Beaverton. Look, we're going to have to change your name, Beaverton. I can't say it without giggling, and I'm supposed to be serious. This is a serious case. A tip came in that identified the driver as 41-year-old Samir Halu Patsodo Fijo. Cops said officers went to the home not far away from the scene of the accident on Tuesday and found the blue Carnival minivan with damage consistent with the accident. Now he is facing several charges, which include assault, hit and run, reckless driving, and unlawful use of a weapon. According to police, the victim suffered serious bodily injuries but is already at home resting with family. Identifying him only as Corey, his sister started a GoFundMe page to help with medical expenses as she described the aftermath of the crash. The impact was so severe it launched him over 200 feet, and the force of the collision drove the gear shifter through his boots. Miraculously, Corey survived thanks to the kindness of nearby strangers. He was quickly transported by ambulance to the hospital and received urgent medical care. Now, the page also shows the victim's scuffed up jacket and helmet along with the boot with the hole in the toe. Now, cops believe that Patso Fijo had been driving recklessly in the days prior to the incident involving the motorcycle. If anyone has information, about him reckless driving, call the Beaverton Police Department. As of Wednesday afternoon, he remained in Washington County Jail. His next court appearance is slated for May 13th. Well, don't drop the soap. Bon voyage, douchebag. And we are done with Lord Chippy for today because honest to goodness, we had some really bad cases that I wanna take some extra time on and couldn't give them a full reading, so we have some lesser douchebags for Lord Chippy today. Now, doctors would like to remind you to not put butthole cream on your eyes. Now, I don't know who's been doing this, and I don't know who needs this warning, but hemorrhoid cream is not for your eyes. Okie dokie. People are applying butt cream to replace this expensive beauty treatment, but experts warn that it's dangerous. No preparation H for your eyeballs. People are swapping Botox for hemorrhoid creams, and experts are begging them to stop it. TikTok's latest wave of unhinged beauty hacks comes with a concern, dabbing hemorrhoid cream on under eye bags to supposedly smooth and depuff without ever stepping into a dermatologist's office. I have so many questions and not enough answers. On social media, women are claiming that Preparation H is a miracle fix for puffy eyes, saying that it supposedly tightens skin and mimics the effect of under eye filler, an expensive non surgical treatment used to reduce dark circles and hollowness by adding volume. But dermatologists are popping the puff reducing bubble. New York City based dermatologist Dr. Shireen Idris, a board certified expert in facial rejuvenation, has long warned against hemorrhoid cream on your eyeballs, especially when creams contain phenylphedrin, a vasoconstrictor, and steroids. Now, using a cream with a vasoconstrictor plus steroids can increase your risk of glaucoma. Don't put butt cream on your eyeballs unless you have a hemorrhoid on your eyeball and then go to a doctor. Now, steroids creams, she added, can worsen the look of your wrinkles and redness around your eyes, giving you a shrivelly appearance. Well, it is meant to go on a shrivelly bit of you. Art imitates life. Now, fellow New York based dermatologist Mark Storm agreed, advising those who are adamant about trying the bizarre trend to be especially careful not to choose a hemorrhoid cream with hydrocortisone, because that is a topical steroid that will thin out your skin with everyday long term continuous use. We're going to have a really weird looking nursing homes when I get there, y'all. If there is any butt product on the market that is safe to be used under the eye, it is diaper rash cream or butt paste. Why? Because unlike hemorrhoid creams, they are soothing and calming because they have zinc oxide. Her favorite one is triple paste, which contains 12% zinc oxide, cornstarch, and oat kernel extract. Now, supposedly, triple paste can be used all over the skin because the cornstarch is beneficial for your pores if you're dry, but can get a bit oily for acne prone skin around your T zone. The oat kernel extract is also an anti inflammatory and natural. Um, it naturally attracts moisture to your skin. So there you go. If you need to put a butt related cream on your face, stick with, triple butt paste. I love that I don't cover serious stories, but even this one is pushing it for me. That being said, I don't know if you needed to hear this, but don't use butt stuff on your face. Like, I just why? Well, I'm never flying again. Just never, ever flying again. This has convinced me. Plane passengers were miraculously, rescued from alligator-infested waters, but they were there for 36 hours before they were rescued. Yeah, hashtag RSVP me for the Great American Road Trip all the time. All the time, forever, just never flying again. A group was left stranded in alligator infested waters when their plane was forced to make an emergency landing. They were finally rescued Friday after 36 hours. Five people were found atop the small plane, which disappeared from radar of the Bendy Department in central Bolivia. The survivors, three women and a child, and their 29-year-old pilot, were discovered by a fisherman in Bolivia's Amazonas region on Friday in excellent condition. Wilson Avila, director of the Bene Department's Emergency Operations Centers, told the BBC. Yeah, no, no. Well, true. We are the infestation, but still, gonna need all swamp puppies to stay in the water while I'm there. Although alligators were less than 10 feet away, the plane's fuel that was leaking into the water might have kept the predators back. We couldn't drink water and we couldn't go anywhere else because of the alligators, pilot Andres Velarde told the outlet. Engine failure is what caused the aircraft to make the emergency landing as the swamp, you know, instead of the airport. I mean, there had to be a reason he went into the swamp, Mo. I love it when you're like, huh, why did they go? Engine fail. Look, I'm not the fastest train on the track, but I get there eventually. Oh, they're crocodiles and caimans. Well, still, look, they're not fuzzy animals that, run. That scare me. Look, they got big toofuses. The engine was swamped. Yes, it was. And for our final story before I set you loose for to the, well, shenanigans that is Karen Reed, we have a kangaroo on the loose, or we did in Florida, but its origins remain a mystery. Now, Florida, I really do need you to explain why you have all these aminals that you're not supposed to have, because pythons are not indigenous. What else? I don't think so. It's pythons. You've got gators. I think they are indigenous, though in Mo's world, they would be moved to Arizona. No offense, but if I'm going to live in Florida, the gators are not living there with me. But now we got kangaroos too. Authorities in Florida said a kangaroo caught on camera hopping down the middle of Osceola County Road has been captured, but its origins remain a mystery. The Florida Department of Fish and Wildlife Conservation said multiple calls came in reporting a kangaroo on the loose, as they are. See if we can get footage. Okay, no, I don't want to hear you babbling. Do we see the kangaroo at all in this clip, or well, that was a big waste of nothing because I thought they were gonna show the kangaroo hopping, but no, just like, random clips. So, Kalia Mullins was the one who captured the video of the kangaroo hopping down the middle of Hickory Tree Road before going under a fence into some nearby farmland. The FWC was, alerted and searched in the thicket for the marsupial, and an investigator located the kangaroo hiding in the thicket area. It was chemically immobilized. Someone got to play with a dart gun. The only reason I would be on Florida Wildlife Commission, like, do I get a dart gun? And they'd be like, ma'am, no, you get a whistle. We've seen your YouTube. You get a whistle. The kangaroo was examined by a veterinarian and found to be healthy and uninjured. It was taken to a licensed facility with experience of caring for kangaroos. Interesting. There is a rehab for kangaroos in Florida. See, you learn something new every day. I did not know that. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate it every morning where we get to look at the news, some headlines, some true crime, and all the absurd. I hope to see you over on Karen Reed, but if not, have a lovely, wonderful day and be kind to yourself. Be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because there are kangaroos on the loose and people stealing ants. So we just got to stay together. Thank you so much, Tammy Faye. I appreciate it so much, you guys. If I don't see you again today, have a lovely day. And if you're going over to the Karen Reed case, well, I've got new pens. Let's see if that helps. Bye, you guys.